Live from Dunamis Church, this is Today at Dunamis. Has justice been served in America? Is it safe to go golfing? Is Apple ruining small business with its new update coming out this week? Listen more Today at Dunamis. Let's welcome our host, Shaun ED.
Here we are, today, to talk life at Dunamis.
Hey everyone. Hey Shaun.
Hello, Ed.
Hello. Sorry for the bit of technical issues with the start time. We did have some issues with our streaming broadcaster. So
we're just on Facebook at this moment.
we're just on Facebook right now. We're not on YouTube, but the recording from this Today at Dunamis episode will be going up after
morning.
the stream.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So you'll get it worked out.
I'll get it worked out, Shaun.
I appreciate that. Work it out, Ed. Work it out. Praise God.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you. And we're just going to do some general news and things and see how we go.
Yes.
I mean, which is great. Nice to have the lovely Erica with us.
Hey, Erica.
We're counting down the days because we know it's not a lot of days left she has of this week, so it's good. And we, as a staff, celebrated Erica and Eric.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, Erica and Eric.
Yeah, so it's not that Eric is having a baby, but he is with his wife. Lexi. Yes, so just do that. It's good for, what do you think? Do you think staff should celebrate with staff these sort of special things? Or
Only if you've had kids. So only the staff members who have had kids are allowed to celebrate with the new staff that are becoming parents.
So what does that mean? So you can't celebrate?
Yeah.
But what does that mean? Like you just go and work and not take the chance to come in and have a piece of cake and
Oh, I'll come down for cake and I'll just go
okay.
back up.
Yeah, okay. Did you leave before me?
No. I'd stay
Okay,
back.
so you're just talking big, so that comes in here. All right, man. All right. So it comes in. So interesting news.
Yes.
Earlier this morning, I was waiting to hear the verdict in Minnesota in regards to the trial of the police officer Derek Chauvin, Chauvin, in regards to the George Floyd area.
Yes. The case with George Floyd and what happened when the police officer left his neck on George Floyd for over 9 minutes.
Left his neck on George.
Oh, sorry, his knee on his neck. Yes, I can pronounce English well.
Left his knee. Yes. It was quite a thing, wasn't it? Yes, quite a story. And I was reading how there was something like, 3,000 National Guard troops were deployed in Minneapolis in case of riots.
Yeah, because of the results, they were very how to put it. They didn't know if they'd be receiving justice or not.
But I think that they got what they wanted, wasn't it? So the 12 jurors found the former police officer guilty of second degree, which is unintentional murder, third degree of murder, and second degree manslaughter.
Yes.
Okay, so so he's found guilty of those areas, especially the more serious count of second degree murder, which is the more serious account, which the maximum penalty for that is 40 years.
It's 40 years.
I'm not saying he's going to get 40 years, but the maximum penalty would be 40 years. So,
so they haven't actually delivered what his sentence is going to be. That'll probably be tomorrow, I think.
And there's been a lot of, I did hear the judge say that Maxine, I forget her name, she's a senator from California.
Yes.
Waters, I don't know what his name is, was making a statement. She's a bit antagonistic, saying, if we don't get what we want, go up there and take it by force, violence. And so
take it by force.
There was some comment like that.
Yeah.
And I know that the judge said a statement like, her comments could have an effect on the appeal or him getting appeal and things dismissed. I know President Joe Biden made a couple. It's funny because President Joe Biden, his White House press secretary said, no one is making, the president is not going to make any comments about how things will go. Next minute, Biden goes, well, this is how I think it should go. So just lack of communication there.
Yeah, it's
the Nancy Pelosi, we Democrats can do no wrong. You know, she hasn't done anything, Maxine, whatever, to incite anything. We can do what we want.
Yeah.
Unless they're Republicans.
Yeah, exactly. The Republicans are evil. Democrats are good. Please remember this. If you are anywhere in the right wing, you're evil. Okay? Just remember that.
Well, I mean, like, do you think that Australian politics is as dirty?
No, and it's purely because of the opposite. Australian politics is so boring, but they do it on purpose so that the vote is less informed of what's happening.
But we do know that the Australian Labor Party does intersharing connecting with the American Democrats, as so too does the Australian Liberals with the Republicans, meaning that we do exchange staff and personnel between two countries. Learning it, there are many times leading up to Australian elections, there are Americans over here for the Democrats and vice versa. Who are involved in that area. But it's just interesting to ask, you know, are we as dirty? Is it as bad? I mean, you know, I do find American politics riveting. But I also do find it personally disgusting.
Yeah, it's like the extremes of what can be classified as good and bad is like enhanced in America. And you can just watch like their ads, for example, compared to our ads. Like everything is just so much like bigger in there. Ooh.
Sorry, it's me.
Oh.
I was trying to get the chat up.
Oh, it's okay.
Is Erica saying something on air?
I was accidentally playing the live on Facebook because I was trying to get to the chat.
Oh, Erica's making.
So are we live right now, Erica?
Yeah, we're live. We're live. Erica's just.
So Erica's interacting with us.
Erica's had an old woman moment.
Oh, brother.
Well, I don't know what to call it.
My mother is an older woman. So it's so insulting. My mother, I dropped off my wife to, I mean, we didn't have that prayer last night. So I dropped off my wife for her G-Woman class. I came at 5:30, set up chairs, and 4 o'clock start. So 5:45 said, "You okay, honey? I'm going to go." She said she'll get a lift back. So I thought, I'm going to go home and do some work, get it done. And on the way home, my mum rings me up. You know, she just got a new vehicle. And it's like, I don't know how to work it, don't know how to drive it, can't get in the garage. It'll only take you 5 minutes. An hour later, I was trying to leave her house.
Oh, no.
So God bless. But, you know, I celebrate my mother and thank God for her. So when you call Eric an old lady, you can't do that because, you know, that's...
I'm sorry, Eric. I should not have said that. I'm sorry.
Okay, we received that. Praise God. And how'd you go on your holiday? Did you have a good time? Yeah, your baby moon?
It was super good.
And did you see many other people having baby moons where you went? Is there like a special place where everybody on baby moon, like, you know, when you have honeymoons, like there's normally key place. Well, no,
like Bali.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know this.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know.
But when you go to honeymoon places, you go to a certain place. Okay, and it's not just there, but predominantly see honeymooners. So is there like a particular place where baby mooners go? Like, do you see a lot of pregnant women? You know what I mean? Just is there a place they go to or not really?
I don't know. It was school holidays, so there were lots of families.
School holidays. That makes it tough.
But it was fine. It was like the tail end, so it wasn't too busy, in my opinion.
So I suppose the good thing about going to school holidays is like get used to what's coming. You know?
Oh, yeah, get used to it, Yeah.
Get used to it, amen. So it comes in. So anyhow, so we certainly pray for America for all those riots. I don't know, Erica, have you seen any latest on the US news there? Any riots? It's a little calm.
I genuinely try to avoid that news because I don't want to experience anxiety. Let's be honest.
No. Sorry, Erica. I must have miscommunicated. Could you please look up and see?
I can do that. Thank you.
But, yes.
It's one of those mornings, folks. Could you please look up and see between Ed and Erica? Could you please look up and see? Remember I said this before the show? Could you look up and see if it's all peaceful over there?
Yes.
Well, let me just take a lighter note. I noticed on the newspaper today, it says water hazards at a golf course in North Queensland, which is, where's that area up there? Where the Mirage is.
Yes.
I forgot the name of that place. Oh, I got a mind blank.
It's a golf center of some sort.
Don't worry about it. I'll come back to it. I'm not should be asking you. So. North Queensland, okay. Oh, I've forgotten the name of the place up the top there. Anyhow, the golf course with the Sheraton Mirage is. and where this crocodile, can you put the image up? The crocodile was chewing right on the 18th hole, this huge barramundi. Now, here's the reason why this story caught my attention. Port Douglas, that's what
Port Douglas. Yep.
This is why it caught my attention. I know that crocodile.
Yeah?
I mean, he's probably called Bruce, my grandson. But I can remember years back, it's got to be 15 years back.
Yes.
We were up on holidays up there, and the Taroos were up there too before Joe and Jess were together.
Yep.
And with us. And I got a picture, Josiah's playing on that course.
Yes.
Okay, there's a picture of him playing on that course.
Yes. Just take the thing off for a sec, Erica.
Okay, we're not working too well today, guys.
Come on, Erica. What's going on? What is this episode? Put it up.
So this is going back, so you can tell it's a few years back. So this is on that same course around that tee. Josiah is teeing off. Josiah was way better than me. I was losing my sanctity in that golf course. Okay. I don't play golf. Do you play golf?
I've played it once.
Have you?
Yep, just once. And
I don't play golf.
Yes.
Then the main reason is because I found every golf player cheats in their counting.
Yeah.
But what happens is that when we used to go up as a family up north to Port Douglas,
yes,
where we stayed, there was a golf course. So I think we did it more to drive the buggies than we did anything else, because Josiah didn't have his license and he wanted to drive.
Yes.
And so that's how it worked. So while we were playing on the golf course, it was Gabby and Roxy, myself, Sandra, Josiah, I think was there. On the hole there, they had this huge crocodile. Could you put the crocodile back on?
Oh, yep,
and it was this crocodile was on the golf course and right on it. Now, here's the funny thing. So we're out there. Do you notice anything about this image that the golf player has taken?
Something in its mouth, right?
That's a barramundi. I know that.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this image?
It's like
there's no barricades.
Oh, yeah.
So you just walk around it. So
my
when we
goodness.
went there, they had those traffic cones. You know those orange traffic cones?
Oh,
they had
my
like
goodness.
4 positioned around it. And it's like everybody would stop like, do we go around it? What do we do? Do we go around it? Because it's right on the green.
Yeah, what do they think? It's going to confuse the crocodile? Like,
well, they can run, you know. So,
yeah.
But then again, when I see him with that barramundi, I don't think he really cares about any humans.
Yeah.
So
my
I just thought it was funny. But yeah, so it was on the 18th tee. So I just thought it was an interesting story.
Yes.
Purely because I've seen that crocodile.
You've had personal history with this crocodile.
Yeah. I didn't see him with a barramundi. Thanks, Erica. I didn't see him for barramundi, but I saw him up on that golf course.
Have you had a crocodile burger before?
I've had crocodile meat. Yes.
Okay, crocodile meat. What's it like?
Oh, come on! Everyone
I've
says,
never had crocodile meat before.
Yeah, I've eaten crocodile. It's little bit. It's a bit. I find it more like pork.
Oh, I've heard it's like chicken.
Everything's like chicken. The funniest thing is when people tell me chicken tastes like chicken. Okay, but it's like more of a porky texture in that area, white meat. Sort of,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's nice. I've had camel.
Oh, what?
The funny thing when you get a camel steak, it has a big lump in the middle.
A big lump in the middle. It's very watery.
Yeah, no, camel. Camel was fine. My favorite though I've eaten was emu.
Emu.
It's a red meat.
Was it running off your plate?
No, it's a very good steak. Very good
Okay.
steak, emu steak. I'm not into ground beef done up because I find it's processed meat, but no,
Yes.
this is a steak. So there's a place up there where you could have samples of all this meat.
Oh, well.
Because, kangaroo, you got to eat it rare, otherwise it's too tough.
Oh.
Because it's very lean. There's
Okay.
no fat in it.
Yep.
So, but I found the emu personally was very nice. So I found it very good.
Oh,
You
very good.
ever tried that?
Nah.
I know a place down at Rockley that sells emu meat and all
It
that.
sells emu meat. Oh, wow.
Buffalo, emu, crocodile.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Is there buffalo in Australia? Is it imported meat?
Australia has a plague of water buffaloes up.
Oh, wait, really? Oh.
Erica, just Google what's the population of water buffalo in Australia.
What were you thinking? Water buffalo?
I was thinking of like the American buffalo.
Bison.
Oh, bison.
That's bison. Okay, yeah, bison. B-I-S-O-N. No, I'm talking about water buffalo. That's buffalo.
Ah.
Okay, Erica, is that online or just for us to see there, Erica?
That's just for us.
Yeah, okay. So how many water buffalo is up North Queensland? Now, did you know, Ed, that we have such a plague of camels? It's only like 100
Wait,
facts.
here?
Yeah, Australia.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That we're the only nation in the world that exports camels.
oh really?
We export it to Saudi Arabia, Middle East areas.
Oh.
So, and that goes back to when the so how many water buffaloes does it say?
15 to 20,000.
50 to 20,000.
50 to
Now
20,000.
ask how many camels there are in Australia.
Oh, man.
That's a single hump, single hump. So
3 million?
3 million.
What?
It's a plague.
What the heck?
Yeah. It goes back to the 1800s, the explorers.
Yes.
And they used to have the explorers and that come up from Afghanistan.
Yep.
And then what happened? They let them go. Now, here's another one. Do you know another unusual animal that we have running wild? Plague?
Toads?
Ostrich.
Ostrich. Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
So ask how many ostriches are there.
Oh.
So back in the 1800s, the ostrich feathers were, especially coming to Anzac Day, the light horsemen would have the ostrich feather in the hat. You know that big brown ostrich feather? So maybe you can Google the ostrich feather in the light horseman's hat. It's that brown feather. Yeah, and so it comes about that area. So comes in. So did you look up? Erica's a bit slower on that area there.
There's just so much ostrich in Australia. There's no number.
Well, you're surprised at 3 million camels, it says there.
I bet there's more ostriches than Australians.
No, there's not. But they're out in the area because they're just let loose. That's what they would do then. They just let them go. See what the headline there says, ostriches roam the outback after attempts to...
I'm not finding an exact number.
I can't
Yeah,
find
but
a
it's
number.
just they roam the outback, so that's how it comes in. Yeah, so we have a lot of... I mean, you wouldn't think ostriches.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? But yeah, they run out there, so it's a lot of things there. So like I was saying, ostrich feathers were in the light horseman's hat.
Yes,
There.
yes.
So speaking of light horsemen,
Yes, Anzac Day this Sunday.
Anzac Day this Sunday, and it's there are legal things that we can't advertise with. You want to put up an Anzacs, you can't use the word Anzacs. It's copyrighted.
You can't even say the catchphrase. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the...
Well, I think just talking here, we can say "lest we forget."
Yeah,
but you can't post that up for
on
advertising
a like
or anything.
LED screen, social
we can't put
media.
it up. So
Yeah.
we could put the soldier going
Soldier,
down,
yep.
and we could just put remembering today. You know what I mean? But we can't put up the word Anzac, and we can't put the
Anzac.
word "lest we forget" because of the copyright and suit by
yeah,
the
it's just
areas.
a weird thing. That
Well, I remember a few years back, Woolworths
Yeah.
did a big thing for Anzac Day and everything else, and they had legal action things said about down in the area. They had to take it down, so it was pretty strong.
Yeah.
I know there's a bit of controversy on it because I was listening to Talkback Radio in the week, and it says, I think it was in Victoria,
Yes.
that the Victorian government was only allowing 5,500
Yeah.
to be in the parade
In the parade, yeah.
because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah.
But that same day, they were going to have 75,000 in the Victorian football stadium
Yeah.
for a game.
For a game.
So the thing was, how come you could have 75,000
Yeah.
on the same day at a
Yeah.
football game, but only 5,500 could be in the parade?
Yeah.
It still seems to be a little bit unusual as to how it all works out, how they work out the facts.
Yeah. It's like, we love our veterans. We love what you guys did back in World War I and II. But don't get in the way of me footy game, all right?
Excuse me.
I think it's
Excuse me.
disgraceful. It's disgraceful that
No,
attitude.
excuse me.
Yeah?
I know you're young, but it's not just World War I and II.
Oh, okay.
We have
Sorry.
Vietnam.
It's
We have
all,
all of
sorry,
our places. We
all-
have what is the longest running active overseas?
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan,
So it's still
20 years.
It's still going, I should
So
say.
can we remember all of
All
our
of it, sorry.
service people
Sorry.
in all areas, and
Yes.
we just honor them and respect them. Okay,
Yeah.
not just World War I and II.
Yeah.
Okay, so to all of our service people, we
Yes.
thank you and we pray over you. And it's not a celebration of war.
No.
This is a celebration of those who've given of themselves,
Yes.
and it's a time of thanks for them. And so we do remember, and we do appreciate all that they do
Yes.
in those areas, which is most. So this weekend,
Yep, on Sunday.
did you know that last weekend was kind of a long weekend in the context of the end of school holidays?
Yes. Yes.
This weekend is a long
a
weekend,
long weekend.
because of Anzac Day. And you know that the next weekend is Labor Day. Another long
Yeah,
weekend.
Labor Day.
I mean, you know, New Zealand's called the land of the long white cloud. We should call Australia the land of the long weekend. Because, like, it never ends. Now, it's
Never
great
ends.
if you're an employee, but as an employer, it's sort of a bit of a pain in the neck because you're only getting 3 days or 4 days rather than, 5 days. I mean,
Yeah.
1 hour. Couldn't the government do anything better than back to back, back to back?
Yeah, back to back. Yeah, man.
I mean, like, just the end of the year, like, September, October, there's nothing. The last one is what? Exhibition Day.
Yeah,
you know,
something like
in
that.
August.
But is it Queen's?
Oh, yeah, they did change, didn't it? The Queen's birthday.
birthday's October, I think.
In fact, it's the Queen's birthday today.
Oh,
Is it?
actually.
Yeah, she's 95.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
95. It'll be a lonely birthday for her. And her late husband, Prince Philip,
Yes.
he would have turned 90. He would turn 100 in June.
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
So, it's had a good life, had a good innings.
Yes.
So what do you think will happen after Queen Elizabeth finishes her reign and Prince Charles?
Yeah. Well, I saw a top 10 countdown of things that will happen when the Queen dies, and the thumbnail had the image of Big Ben exploding. So I'm looking. I'm not looking forward to it. I think
You're not
that's
on
a
that
bit-
Q thing anonymous.
The fall of the UK will happen after the Queen passes away.
remember. Okay, but so that's quite interesting, and hopefully Harry and William and Charles will get along.
Yeah, they can all sort themselves out.
As if we don't have enough things to deal with in life. Now, this was interesting because COVID, and I read an article that India is in the verge of running out of oxygen. They have over
Oxygen?
1 billion people. Yeah, because of the pandemic. And I was reading today, Ed, that it said that an Indian has reported more than 15 million cases and some 180,000 deaths.
Yes, check out this spike. Just in the past week or past 7 days, it's just gone from flat and then just shot straight up. It's
And what I
incredible.
saw, Ed, and tell me if I'm wrong, I saw that it wasn't just India, but Brazil and France also are having a big
spikes.
spike. Yeah. And it says more than a year into the pandemic, global deaths have passed 3 million and are climbing again at nearly 12,000 per day on average.
Yes.
Okay. So that's deaths, 12,000 per day. So they said that even in India, even though they've said what's happening there, that they can't get an accurate number on it because it's out of control.
That's out of control, yeah.
Whereas, what I understand, the United Kingdom, they've eased up some restrictions,
Yes.
which can only be put down to their vaccinations.
The vaccination has been going well, I believe, in the UK. A lot of people have been getting it. But mind you, all of Europe's just been having great access to vaccines.
No, France and Italy and all that are behind. They haven't
Oh,
been going-
uh-oh.
That's what it comes to. But then again, you had the story yesterday. I don't know if you read that story yesterday, that in New Zealand, did you read that story?
I don't
You're
think
not really
I
a
did.
news person, are you?
This is Australia. I don't care about New Zealand.
Well, let's just say it affects us because the open borders.
Oh,
right?
yes, I know.
So yesterday, only a couple of days in, the cleaner of the plane in Auckland
I think
had
I heard about
COVID.
this. Yeah.
Now, there's two interesting things here. One is he'd had the vaccination.
Uh-oh.
So he had the vaccination. And number two is it was on the what they call the red zone, which was where Australia's the green zone, coming from Australia. So it's a red zone, meaning coming from Europe or other countries where it's epidemic.
yep.
But the issue is how many people has this person had contact with
contact
outside.
with, yeah.
So I saw that as a big story. But, we live in Australia, and the only time that we really feel anything is when our premier says 3 days mass and 2 weeks of
3 days lockdown.
Mass or
and
whatever
then
goes on
masks
there,
for
there.
2 weeks.
dude. I that 14 days felt more painful than all the other times.
Then all of like last year.
I mean, last year was like 3-4 months lockdown.
Yeah.
That 3 days of lockdown
Yeah.
and that 14 days of mass to me felt more painful than any other time that we've had to do it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I guess we were just so used to it being open and fine, and then suddenly
I think because we're so over it.
over it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I'm so over it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm trying to say? So over it.
Yes.
You know, and it's so annoying, you know. So, but that's what happened in that part of the world. So it came about. Now, you used to be pretty good on the tech side, telling us what's happening.
Yes. Let's talk about this recent Apple event that happened this morning called Spring Loaded, because I guess America's entering spring, so Spring Loaded. Anyway, Apple is going to be releasing or refreshing quite a lot of their products for...
That can only mean they want to make more money.
Yeah, more money. Mind you, there is something, I guess, worthy of this upgrade. Apple has a new processor called the M1 chip. Basically, it means instead of asking a company like Intel or Nvidia to make a product for them, they just make it themselves. So it's in theory more powerful and more cheaper because it's now made in-house instead of asking another company to make it for them.
That means that they'll make the products cheaper for us?
A little bit, so.
Yeah,
just
really.
like the most smallest amount cheaper, in theory. So the first of these new refreshes is the iMac. So it's got an M1 chip. It has all these amazing colors now instead of that classic silver color we've grown to know. Green, pink, blue, silver, and also orange and purple. The keyboards come with Touch ID on them now. And it has a 4.5K Retina screen. And one of their claims is that it, in theory, has studio quality mics. So, see these mics that we have? These mics are studio quality. It's alluding that this Mac will have studio quality mics on it.
So, would you say you're a bit of a geek?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, I don't want to insult you. Would you say that you're a bit of a geek?
Yeah, okay.
So I imagine that you might just be out ordering one of these things soon?
No, one of the issues with the M1 is that Apple likes making these very big claims about their own internal chip. The thing is that ARM is what... Oh, okay, now we're just going real technical. So ARM have this blueprint of how to make a processor. Apple buys the license to use it, and then they build a chip. So this is Apple's version 1 of using their own M1 chip. So everyone's saying it's cool. Let's test it out and see how it goes. So if I was a big Apple user, I wouldn't be jumping out here into the reviewers. Get it? They really hammer in the testing. And that's for anything with M1 chips in it. For example, they're doing the new iPad Pros. So I have an iPad Pro. I have the first generation of the new 11-inch series that they do.
So how old is the first generation?
3-4 years now, I think.
So I have an iPad Pro.
You have the old style iPad Pro where it's...
Well, isn't yours even older?
Yeah, but mine's in the new style. Yours is in the old style. Well, look. So my new style... Oh, look, you can just see my notes now. So my iPad goes to the edge of the screen where yours still has a physical home
border
button.
for it.
Yeah. So they're finally doing a new version of it with an M1 chip and allegedly 50% more powerful than this iPad Pro. So it's more powerful. It has 2 cameras on it. And what I'm looking forward to is the, if you could put this up, Erica, the Magic Keyboard. So it essentially makes your iPad almost into a mini MacBook Air with the keyboard accessory you can get for it.
So the iPad... Oh, okay. So it's almost like a little laptop.
It's like making it like a little laptop. So the question then becomes, should you get
Why
a
don't you
MacBook
just
Air?
use a laptop?
Yeah. Do you want an iPad or do you want a MacBook Air? But I use a keyboard of my iPad and
So what's the difference between a MacBook Air and an iPad Air?
Well, now it's just more what kind of OS do you want to use? Or operating system. Do you want to use a classic Apple operating system or do you want to use more a portable version of the operating system? Yeah, Sean's get to the part I asked you to look into.
Okay.
All right, let's get to the part
I've had enough.
you actually wanted to hear about, Sean, which is the AirTag. So the AirTag...
I heard about the AirTag.
...is kind of I have it here. It's kind of like Tile. So
it looks like a silver dollar coin.
It's like a silver dollar coin. Yeah, it's really funky looking. But it basically works like Tile. So if you're good at losing things, you can
need to get some for Carol.
Yeah, Carol. She lost her phone at kids camp twice.
Dude, she loses everything. When she says goodbye, she's leaving the house.
Yeah.
I just say wait for it because she comes back in 2 or 3 times because she forgets things. No, I'm not joking.
Don't worry, Sean. I believe it. Yeah. So you can get these little tags. I think for one, it's $45, and you can get a 4-pack for $150. And you use it with the Find My app on iOS, and that's how you can track things now.
Do you know what distance does it have? As long as it has reception.
Well, as long as it can connect to something. I've tried looking into it. It's a bit
iffy.
Well, it's not iffy. It's just that it's more like, if more people know how this thing works, people can then take advantage of it from like a security standpoint.
Well, like I'm saying, if it's a tile, how does it work for your car keys? You'd have to put it on the key ring.
I think if it can just connect to like a Bluetooth or like the cellular or maybe Wi-Fi network somehow, you can track it. Or maybe I think it connects to the satellites. Okay. I think that's how it mostly does work.
We were babysitting our grandson Zion.
Yes.
4 weeks ago.
Yes.
I think it was 3-4 weeks ago. And we had him for about 6 hours. Yeah. And when he left, we've never been able to find our TV remote control.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I still haven't found it. So I don't know where it is, where it's gone. I don't know where it is.
Oh, no.
So he's coming back over on Saturday for a visit for 8 hours. Joan just going to a wedding.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that he might be able to relocate it.
How to find it.
I need a tracking device on it.
You need to get one of those.
I don't know where it is, but it's been gone. You know what I mean? So, we've been manually turning the TV on from the hand. So it's just disappeared.
Yes. The last thing I want to talk about that's happening this week.
More text.
This is the last thing. Okay. But to me, I know it's something very minuscule, but I think this is the most important thing. So iOS is going to be dropping a new update next week, and I would highly recommend everyone who has
iOS is an acronym for
iOS is an acronym. Yeah.
iOS?
Integrated operating. It's
integrated
Apple's OS for phones. It's your iPhone.
Okay.
iPhone OS. Oh, that's what it stands for. iPhone operating system. Okay, so version 14.5 is being dropped next week, and it comes with...
Say that again?
iOS 14.5 update for your iPhone is dropping next week. And I would recommend everyone who has an iPhone to get this because it comes with the new app tracking transparency. Now, that just sounds just like a big mouthful.
I'm blown away, buddy.
But what it means is, okay, when we're on Facebook, we're live streaming on Facebook right now. When we use Facebook, Facebook is tracking us. Okay. And they see a lot. If you've given...
So is our smart TV.
Smart TVs. If you've given Facebook permission to use the camera,
yeah,
while you're using the app, it can see through the camera.
Okay.
So what this update is going to do is it's now going to lift like lift the curtains on when apps are tracking you without you knowing.
So it'll notify you.
It'll notify you and say, hey, Facebook is tracking you in these areas right now as you're using the app. And Facebook went on the offense saying that this is going to ruin small business, but in reality, it's going to give power back to the people and realize, oh, Facebook's tracking me right now when I'm not even using the app. And this is real
sus.
Is it
the Russians or is it the...
It's obviously the Chinese, Sean.
No, the Democrats is the Russians at the time, isn't it?
So it's probably the Russians this time.
Yeah.
So...
All right, I had enough of tech, if you don't mind.
Hey, I'll just say, please update your phones next week. Please update your phones.
I will do it for that. I like to know if I'm being tracked.
Yes, exactly.
It should be on your smart TVs. You know, right
in the middle of tape. Just get a bit of tape and put it over the camera.
Right in the middle of your program, you're going like, you are being watched.
Big Brother's watching you, Sean. Big Brother.
Well, I found this interesting. Stolen Big Bird costume returned to circus in Adelaide with an apology note. The Big Bird reminded me of Rodney because, you know, Rodney.
He's nice and tall. Yes, here's the image of the
return costume. It said here that and I reckon they're going to be exaggerating. Yeah. They said that, this is on the ABC News, it said that the stolen Big Bird costume was worth $160,000.
very.
I do not believe that.
Yeah, me either. That's crazy.
Now, when I said that to you, you said to me, what is it, real feathers? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
It was made with
Ostrich.
ostrich
There we
feathers,
go.
Australian
There we go.
raised.
Full loop, full circle.
Full loop. Okay. It was made of ostrich feathers. I don't believe it's worth 165. That must be self-valuation.
Self-valued, yeah.
Yeah. Or it was a big insurance write-off.
Yeah,
Maybe it was the ringmaster took it to get the insurance claim for the circus because, all the animal stuff has been pretty hard out there.
Yeah.
So, and there was an apology note returned with the costume. Said, no harm had come to Mr. Bird. So, yeah, that's what it said on the note. So, I mean, I found that most intriguing, to say the least, so it came about. But anyhow.
Oh, why would you want to take a Big Bird suit? Like, what was it? Just like a prank? Was it?
I don't even know how to answer you.
Yeah.
Okay, so seeing how I can't answer you, I won't answer
Okay.
you in those areas. So these are all interesting things, you know what I mean? I wanted to put in a little business segment on stories because I like some of these things.
Yes.
And this one is on the front of saying, in business, you have to learn to fortify your defenses. And I really like this story, a true story.
Yeah.
There was an Israeli businessman who developed a revolutionary approach for supplying meat to American troops who were stationed in Vietnam in the 1960s,
Yeah.
the Vietnam War. And his simple idea could save the United States up to 40% of what it expects to spend as it goes out to get meat supplies for bids. So all the other bidders who are coming in to, because what happened with the Vietnam War is they wanted to give their soldiers a high protein butchered meat.
Yes.
And but what happened is that wherever they would set up their industrial kitchen, commercial kitchens to do all the meat, would get bombed by the Viet Cong because you'd attack the supply line.
Yes.
So what they did is they put out bids as to what companies could come up with the best approach to supply the American soldiers in the Vietnam War with meat to keep it fresh. And this particular man, he's an Israeli businessman, he developed a revolutionary approach for the American troops that was 40% cheaper in its bid. So all the other bids came in, and this guy was 40% cheaper.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, what's interesting is that the American soldiers or the American troops who are, or the authorities who are looking at it, they're like saying, well, they call them in and said, look, your bid is 40% cheaper than all the other bids, not 10%, but 40%.
Yeah.
So is it real? The guy's going, yes, it is real. And they go like, well, tell us what it is.
Yes.
And if you tell us what it is and we like it, then we'll give you the bid because we can't see how you do it. Now, here's the problem in business. This says this, that you've got to learn to guard the important information.
Yes.
So in other words, there was no contract.
Yeah.
So they said, tell us what it is. If we like it, we'll give you a contract.
Yeah.
But the problem is you would have given out your information, how you're doing it, with no liabilities.
Yes.
The other thing is this, defend your reputation, okay, so that there's no misperception. So be careful. Shield your core activities. Protect your deals by knowing what they care about and fend off broken promises and learn to shelter your valuable time. In other words, don't divulge the information that you may have God's given you until you know it's going to be in the right place.
Yes.
So they said to the American authorities, we can't tell you how we're going to do it because if we tell you, it is so simple. It is so simple that you or others will do it and we don't get any, what's the word? Compensation.
Yeah, compensation for the work that we did, yeah.
So they said, well, we're not going to sign a contract with you because it's so much cheaper, 40% cheaper, so it's a stalemate.
Yeah.
So basically, what that company said is this. It says, look, you signed the contract with us, and if in 12 months we can't deliver what we've said, then you can cease the contract and we'll pay you $1 million.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
So they accepted it.
Oh.
Now, remember what the problem was, right? they had to work out how they could get fresh meat to the soldiers.
Yeah, to the soldiers, yep.
Because wherever they'd set up these butchering, whatever else places, it was attacked by the Viet Cong because it was about attacking the supply line.
Yes.
So the idea, do you know what the idea was?
Salted meat? I don't know.
No, mate. So what happened is they had sourced old ships that had refrigeration capabilities.
Yep.
And they were just cheap.
Yeah.
And the whole plan was that offshore, off Vietnam shore, they would have these huge ships. And on those ships, they would process the cattle.
Ah, so do it offshore.
And then they would just bring it to shore as needed. And because it's offshore, the Viet Cong, etc., had no way to attack that supply line.
Yeah.
And it was cheaper than trying to build something in Vietnam.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, they signed the contract.
Yep.
And, of course, in that 12 months, they didn't have to pay it back.
Yeah.
Because it was working so well.
So well, yeah.
And because the American Western was used to a high-protein diet, it came through.
Yeah.
And I was reading about this as a business idea, not for me to do that, but like in business, like let's say for example, I was out after I'd been at the gym. I went for about a 5K, bit of a walk with the dog in the early morning hours. Yes. And it's during that time that I'll pray, and what I'm going to do? Talk to a dog? You know what I mean? And so I'm out there praying and I'm thinking of things, and so I got this. I felt it was an idea God gave me to do with prayer and some other stuff, and I liked the idea. Now here's the key. So when you get an idea, what I've learned is when you get the idea, mule on it yourself first.
Oh yeah.
Okay, before you blurt it out, mule on it yourself.
Yes.
And by muling it out yourself, you get to refine it and work it out.
Yes.
Then the next stage is share it to one or two people.
Yeah.
No more than one or two. And get their reaction. Now, I've only shared it to one other person. I shared it to Josiah this morning.
Yep.
And when I was in the office, I said to Josiah, hey, Josiah, I had this idea at 4 o'clock this morning. It wasn't 4 o'clock I was talking to him. It was 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I said, I had this idea at 4 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
Or maybe it was 8:30. And I said, what do you think about this idea? What do you think? So you just bounced it off one.
Yeah.
And I said, take a day or so just to think about it, get back to me. And then what I'll do is then I'll share to another 2 or 3 people.
Yes.
Then I'll share to 10 or 15.
Yeah.
And then I'll share larger at bay. Because the whole idea is you have to learn how that when you get an idea, especially if you believe it's a God-given idea, you've got to learn how to be able to hold it. You've got to learn how to be able to develop it. And if you throw it out too easily, well, I don't think anyone in the church is going to steal my idea because it's not unique.
Yeah.
But it's a revamped one. But in my context, well, in this business one here, they didn't want to share it because the American government would just do it themselves or other contractors would do it, so they kept it. But in my context, it's not the same because what am I going to do? Is Erica going to say, okay, I'm going to steal it and I'm going to go do it? Or Ed going to, no, it's not going to happen. Or if another church says, well, I'm going to do that, and you say, well, all the best, do it.
All the best, yeah.
But no, for my side, the reason why I hold it close and not share it out is so that it's not destroyed or shot down. And you want to be careful how much gets out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you want to be careful how much you share.
Yes, there's power in the tongue, as we say.
Well, yeah, power in the tongue, but also there's power in the ideas.
Yes.
And because, how you perceive something.
Yes.
It's like you've heard the old saying, a glass is half full or half empty.
Yes.
Now, it's exactly the same amount of liquid.
Yeah.
But it all has to do with your perception.
Perception, yeah.
I mean, and it has to do to where you have to believe in God, than to believe in yourself.
Yes.
Like when we started the church, so if you remember, we got saved, and I had worked 8 years in what was called Garden City Christian Church on staff, and Sandra had worked 9 years on staff.
Yes.
And then we went to the United States with that pastor about 6 months after being there, and there was 2 campuses, and we worked there for 3 years, and then God brought us back. So the funny thing about it, Ed, was in each place I was at, the 8 years and then the 3 years, I was used to the place having multiple staff, like what we do.
Yeah.
So when I came back to Australia, we were going to start in our living room.
Yes.
Okay, for the first, I went to the neighbors, said, "Can you put up for us for 3 months?" So the first 3 months was in our living room.
Yes.
And so for the first time in my life, I had to use a bedroom as an office for the street because I have a policy of no office at home.
Oh, well. Yeah. That's good.
Do you know why?
Yeah, keeping work and your home life separate. Yeah.
Right, so that when I come home, a young Josiah knew that I was available for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Not going like, don't bother me, I got to work. So if I got to work, I'm going to stay at the office and work.
Yes.
But when I come home, I'm at home.
I'm at home, yeah.
Yeah, and not bring the work home.
Yeah, exactly.
So for the first time in my life, I had to use an office.
Yeah.
For that 3 months.
Yes.
You know, and I had nobody to interact with. I mean, of course I had my wife, but what I mean is like other workers in that area there, so it made it a little bit more difficult, you know. And then after 3 months, we had our first building, which was in Underwood, corner of North Road and I think it was Compton Road.
Yep.
And it was a bit of a hall, but there's a little office.
Yes.
And I'd be down there, and I'd go like, man, it's so quiet, so lonely, just by myself. My dad used to drive down to visit me every now and then, but I can remember that like it was yesterday. I mean, that was like 29 years ago.
Yes.
But I remember it. But the issue is that when we're starting the church, and that first Sunday morning we had 20 in the morning and 22 at night.
Yep.
In 3 months we had like 60 people, 66. And I remember one person came to me, visited church, was in our living room, and they said, well, what do you have to offer that these other churches can offer us? Well, I said, I can't give you a building because it's in our living room. I can't give you full-time staff because I'm not even full-time staff. I'm in faith for this. For the first 3 months, I didn't draw away. I just worked in faith.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, I can't offer you a children's pastor or a youth pastor. You know, I can't offer you anything.
Yes.
So they said, well, what do you have that they don't have? And I said, well, I can answer that.
Oh, what is it?
Me.
Oh.
You won't find me in any other place.
Very true, very true.
You'll find God in those other places.
Yes.
Let's not be arrogant.
Yep.
But you won't find me in those other places. In other words, what I'm trying to say is this, Ed, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
Amen. That's it.
So if you're in business or if you're a church leader or whatever else, you have to believe in yourself. Now, the business world would say you have to believe in yourself.
Yes.
In my area, I'd say you'd have to believe in your call.
Yes.
Because if you believe in your call, others will believe in it.
Exactly.
But if you don't believe or you don't think you're qualified or you don't think you're able, nobody else does. And this is always an issue, is that people don't believe. There's a lack of confidence. And, you know, confidence will destroy us.
Yes, yes.
Would you agree?
Yes, especially if you can't back up what you're saying.
What you're saying. Well, I mean, like, so let's talk. Let's say that you're in a situation where you can't answer the person's questions about what you're saying. How do you respond?
If I was asked that question, and
Which question?
If let's say, Ed, how many chapters of First Peter are there? I'd have to say, well, I'm sorry, I'm not equipped with that information, but I'm going to look it up.
Oh, and you say, I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying.
Well, there's not. I think the worst thing you can do in business, or the worst thing you can do in the ministry, is lie.
Is lie. Yeah. Yep.
So I learned the principle. Like if they ask me, you know, it could be a question about theology. It could be a question about evolution.
Yes.
Or whatever else. Yep. And if I don't know the answer, then I'd say, okay, well, let me get back to you. When I used to go out in the streets evangelizing, right, what would happen many times is that there would be certain people who are just out there to waste your time or take up your time.
Yes, yes.
In other words, I used to tell my team, be careful of those who just want a conversation with you for an hour.
Yep.
And have no intention of giving the heart to the Lord.
Yes.
Because they're just wasting your time when you could have shared the 2 or 3 others that might be open.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd say to them, look, I don't have that answer, but if you give me your phone number, I'll contact you.
Yes.
Well, they didn't want me to contact them because they just wanted to be on that time of the moment.
Yeah.
Now, whether they realize it or it's spiritual, that was what happened. So you have to be able to learn how to handle those things, you know what I mean, and come back to it. And it's the same thing in business in the areas. You know, if you're starting a business.
Yeah.
So if we're going to start a business, what business is it, Ed? Pick a business.
Food. Fast food. McDonald's. We're starting around McDonald's.
What did I not guess. You'd have to be about food. Why does it have to be McDonald's?
Okay, fine.
That's a franchise.
Clothing. Dunamis
So why don't we
clothes.
just call it?
There we go.
McEd's.
McEd's, yes. McEd's fast food.
McEd's fast food.
Yeah.
Which is going to be lasagna in a bucket.
Yes, lasagna in a bucket. Yes,
Okay.
I'm going to
My
write that
friend
down.
Eddie's got spaghetti in a bucket.
Spaghetti
So
Eddie.
he
Let's
actually
go.
has now spaghetti in tacos.
What? That sounds
After
amazing.
It
That
does?
sounds. I'm gonna. Okay, Mum. I think you're watching this. We need to try this. Next time I make pasta, we're making taco shells too.
He did it. He does.
sounds amazing.
Spaghetti in
Taco shells. That's
the crispy
amazing.
ones. Yeah. So so he does spaghetti in a bucket. And,
Yeah.
You know, there. So if we're going to do a business,
Yes.
okay, and say it's going to be McEd's, okay,
Yeah.
which is going to have an Italian
Yeah. See,
taste to it.
Italian
right?
taste. Yeah.
So the issue is, what do we do?
Come up with a cool logo.
Well, I think before we do the cool logo, I think we got to find out what our audience is like or what our market's
yeah, our
like.
market,
And we got to
yeah.
do that area of the homework. It's the same thing when you do a church.
Yes.
So when you do a church, you got to do your demographics. You got to find out, what's the area like, what's the beliefs like. So if you're doing a church,
Yep.
and I've done a few courses on church planning, how do you find out, like, what sort of information would be helpful for you to start a church? Do you think?
I guess the economic level.
Financial income?
Yeah, or like the
So
average.
what's that got to do with starting a church
Well,
rather than curiosity?
I think presentation is important.
okay,
so-
well, let me ask this. In the
Yeah.
fast food business,
Yes.
which town or city has more McDonald's per capita than any other?
Wait, here? I'd say Logan.
Ipswich.
Sorry. Yeah.
They just opened
I
up their
keep-
6th McDonald's in Ipswich town.
keep forgetting Ipswich is not part of Logan. Sorry, but yeah, Ipswich.
Okay, 6th one.
Yeah.
Now, did you know that the prices of McDonald's in the Logan city is a different price to the McDonald's in Mount Gravatt?
Yes, Big Mac economics. Yes.
So, which is more expensive, the McDonald's in Logan City or the McDonald's in Mount Gravatt?
Mount Gravatt.
No,
Oh, really?
Logan City.
What?
Do you know why?
No.
Because their statistics tell them that people in the more poor
Yes.
economic area spend more money on fast food than those in Mount Gravatt. So Mount Gravatt would probably go more to a restaurant.
True.
Not that they don't have a popular McDonald's.
Yep.
Okay. So you might find the Mount Gravatt McDonald's has the highest income. But what you might find, there's only one.
Yep.
Whereas compared to 2 or 3 in that other area. So
Yes.
what I'm trying to say is that people who find it hard in the fast food, they're more inclined to do the fast food. For example, I was driving through Browns Plains area yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And, they got that mall there.
Yeah.
I have never seen so many restaurant fast food things there. There is a ribs and burgers and shake. There was this like more than Hyperdome, more than just all the way along there. And they work it on that people who are in a lower income economics
Yes.
will spend more money on fast food.
Yeah, it's true.
And the tragedy is those fast food places on average will put them up slightly more than the other affluent one. Because in the affluent one, they want to try to get you in, so it's cheaper.
Yep.
And the other ones, they know you're going to go there compared to your own. So it works out. So if you're doing a business like yours, I suppose you're saying you might look at that area.
Yep.
So you might want to rethink where you go. Wouldn't it work on people dynamics? Like, would
Yeah.
you like to know if there's Italians?
Yeah, see, I would. I wouldn't open an Italian place if there's a lack of Italians in the area.
So would you do it with a lack of Italians or where there is Italians?
I think now it's more you almost need Italians with Italian cuisine.
So-
that's what I find.
In this area, where would be the biggest Italian population?
Oh man, I don't think there's much of an Italian population left here in Queensland.
Yes, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, well, in the city area, it's around the West End and everything else, Italians.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
But in regards to Queensland,
Yep.
all your sugarcane area was predominantly Italians.
Oh.
Innisvale, Ingham, all those areas, Italian. They're all Italian immigrants who came over. In fact, it's up there where they have a celebration, Little Italy, Italian celebration.
Okay, I gotta go there.
you should look it up, okay, in those areas. So it's finding out if you're doing that food, what works.
So I would open an Italian place there.
So, for example, our friend Eddie, and he's doing Spaghetti Eddie.
Yes.
Okay, and he says spaghetti in a bucket.
Yeah.
Right. And he's doing this because he is American.
Yes.
Mexican.
Yep.
Descent. And he's doing it in a Hispanic area.
Ah.
Chino.
Yes.
Chino. Chino. Yep. Okay. So he's doing it there. So there's no
Italians.
There's no Italians there. Okay. Because the biggest population of Italians there is over in New York.
Yeah.
Little Italy. Okay. And so there's no Italians per se there. Okay. But somehow it's a niche. See, I don't think doing a spaghetti in a bucket here, do you think that would work?
Oh, okay. It would work for me.
But
I don't think it would here, though.
It's not about you, Ed. It's about go down there. So, like,
I don't think it would.
When I do a church, it's not about, well, it works for me. It's about how do I reach that market?
Yes.
How do I come in?
Yeah.
So, where would you find all this information?
Oh.
You want to know about the financial income. You want to know about the ethnicity of the area. You want to know about gender. You want to know about nationalities. If you're doing the research, either to plant a church or you're doing research for business, like your restaurant, where would you find this information?
Buy it from Facebook? I don't know,
no,
to be honest.
Your census, the Australian census.
Census, yeah.
So the Australian census has all the breakdowns. Gender, okay, ethnicity, religious beliefs, non-religious beliefs.
And you can purchase that information?
Yes, you can. You can get all that. You can download it.
Okay.
You get the whole area from the census. It's done every 4 years.
Yep.
Okay, and you can get all that information to help you know about who you're working with, who you're moving to.
Yep.
And this is what happens in doing all that homework towards doing business or anything else.
Yep.
And so it goes back to the same thing, is that in order to see something succeed or nurture, you have to do your homework.
Know the market. Yes.
It's not just knowing the market like these guys did in the Vietnam.
Yep.
It wasn't just that they knew the market, but they realized that if they gave away what they had, it could be taken and used against them.
Yes, yes.
And that's always a story. I knew of another story of Disneyland.
Yep.
You've heard of Disneyland?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So going back in the 70s, early 80s, there was an architectural company or group, new business, that they had thought, you know what Disneyland needs is its own stadium. So they designed a stadium for Disneyland.
Yeah.
And they went in to meet and they went in to meet the executives of Disneyland.
Yep.
And they brought in all the plans. I mean, doing the plans was worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And they brought in all the plans. And the Disneyland executive said, no, not interested. Not interested. So they left.
Yep.
Now, when they left, they realized that once we tell Disneyland our plan, what?
They'll know what their idea is and they could base it on theirs.
So this is what they did.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know what these architects did?
They put flaws in their design on purpose?
No. They left their plans there.
On purpose.
5 years later, Disneyland built the arena, which is in Anaheim now.
Yeah.
For their duck ice hockey thing, right?
Yeah.
And so they sued.
Yeah.
And when Disneyland said no, it's own idea, they said, no, we left deliberately our plans. You went exactly off our plans. We have a copy, and it's copyrighted.
Yeah, it's copy. Yeah,
and they had to settle.
Yeah, wow.
So in the situation where you can't keep it secret, you have a backdoor to protect your intellectual right.
Yes, make sure to copyright that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they did it. So they actually, this is a true story.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
And they left their plans there on purpose. And they said, no, because they said, what do we need to pay them royalties?
Yeah.
We'll just build our stadium.
Yeah.
But what happened is they had strategically left the plans there or that copy there.
Yeah.
So when they did hear years later built it, and of course they could walk around and say it's exactly to what we did.
Yeah.
Because they got the plans.
They
had to settle.
Very smart.
So there's ways in which you have to protect your intellectual property.
Yes.
Okay. But there's also areas where you have got to, if you have to divulge it, make sure you have some sort of protection.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that the way they did it is the way we should be doing as Christians.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that because it was almost like a bait.
Yeah, a bait.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, okay, if they had told them, oh, I believe it's here, then they could have just altered the plans and still got away with it. It's like, you go online and look at home plans.
Yeah.
Well, they're copyrighted.
That's copyrighted, yeah.
But if you want to use those home plans, you take a copy, then you get your draftsmen to alter it.
Alter it, yeah.
So they knew that Disneyland could do that because once they had given their idea, they knew that they would do it because they want to bypass it.
Yes.
But they weren't smart enough. They weren't sure off their plans. Now, this is the Bible says you need to be wise as a serpent.
A serpent, yeah.
And gentle as a dove. Okay. In G-Man, we'd say tough and tender.
Yeah, tough and tender. That's
okay.
Cool.
So the fact of the matter is finding that balance how you do it.
Yes, finding the balance.
See, I believe, Ed, and I really believe this, and there are pastors who don't agree with me, and that's okay. I don't think they're wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm wrong. Yes. I believe that God has given the potential for every Christian to be successful in business.
Amen.
Now, I have a lot of pastors who don't agree with me. They believe some are, some aren't. I believe that everyone has a potential, just like I believe that everyone is given the chance to be saved.
Yes. Yep.
Now, just because the majority don't, doesn't mean they aren't offered it. For God so loved the world, not some of the world, but the world.
The world, yeah.
And where in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses has regard that God wants his people to be a head, not a tail. You say, well, that's Israel. Well, we are of the children of Israel by faith.
Yep.
They were through circumcision and blood, but we are through faith. So it's not through the direct bloodline, but it is through faith in Christ Jesus. That's what Paul said.
Yes.
So what I believe is that God is wanting every single one of us Christians to thrive, not survive. The problem is 90% of the body of Christ only survives.
Yep.
They live from paycheck to paycheck, wage to wage.
Wage to wage.
Whereas I believe that God wants them to thrive, but they have to learn how to do it.
Yes.
So it starts off like this. I'll have a young person says, well, Pastor, I want to be able to thrive. Where do I start? What would you say?
I think the first thing would be is budget.
Yeah, very good. And
Budget,
I'd say, first of all, honor God.
Honor God. Yeah. Yes.
Honor God.
Yep.
Your tithe.
Yep.
Now, I know people react to that, but the only people who react to it don't do it.
Don't do it, yeah.
Those who don't react to it are people who are doing it.
Yes.
Those who react don't do it. Now, that's up to you. You don't want to do it, don't do it. I mean, I still love you. Do it. But the issue is, when I do it, I'm saying that God's in control.
Yeah, exactly.
When I don't do it, I'm saying I'm in control. So you start at the beginning.
Yep. Yes.
And then you start at the beginning, you work your way up. So you begin this area. Then you say, God, give me creative areas. Give me abilities to work through, because we've got to be asking God for insight.
Yes.
And if you want ideas, learn to carry a notebook.
Yep.
Or what I love is the phone.
Yeah.
It has notes.
Yes.
And I must have thousands of notes in my notes. You know what I mean? Where I put down ideas, notes.
Yes. Same
It's
here.
like when I was walking this morning.
Yes.
And I felt there was this idea I was able to write down. And it's very hard with the dog pulling you because he sees a wallaby. But the fact of the matter is that you record stuff down to know it because God is speaking.
Yep.
See, the problem is not that God's not speaking. We're not listening.
Yep. That's it.
But then we have to make sure that, you see, the idea is a seed, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's nothing wrong with the seed. The problem is with the
Fruit?
soil,
Soil, sorry.
okay? Before you get fruit, you have soil.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not the seed, it's the soil.
Yes.
So the soil is your heart.
Yep.
So when God deposits an idea or a thought, seed, if you haven't cultivated your soil, then that seed can't take root.
Yeah.
If it can't take root, it can't grow. If it doesn't grow, then it can't give us fruit.
Yes.
And it takes time.
Yes.
And we have to keep coming back. And I find this is the biggest problem, right? Is that we take credit for God.
Yeah.
And I'm so conscious today, and I need to be even more so, that we've got to make sure we don't touch God's glory.
Yes. Same.
God doesn't share his glory.
Yeah.
And once you touch God's glory, you're crossing over. I see, my big burden is I pray this all the time. I say, God, raise up more and more successful brothers and sisters in Christ. But it has to be people that we can trust.
Yes.
And this segment talking about, business and everything else. It has to do with, because you imagine if more and more brothers and sisters could say, like, God, I want to do it. So it's like I say to you, so Ed, what's your first year goal? What's your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal? See, I have a 100-year goal.
Oh, wow.
I learnt this years ago from a particular man. I forgot his last name there, but through Jeff and Kathy. But I learnt, because I had a 5-year, 10-year, 15, 20, 25. But I have a 100-year goal.
Oh, wow.
So do you know what the significance of a 100-year goal is?
It's very... Oh, sorry. You will not see the fruit?
The 100-year goal is not that I will live to experience it, but it's what I leave for my grandchildren, etc.
Yep. Yes.
There, this man I knew from years back, his name was Matti Ranala. He was the man, he was a Finnish immigrant here
Yes.
in the 60s.
Yep.
And he worked in the sugarcane fields up in Ingham and Innisfail, cutting sugarcane by hand.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And he made enough money in that first year to buy a little house in an area called Holland Park. And in Holland Park, he had enough money. He wanted to start his own business, so he started making blinds and fly screens.
Okay.
And so in the garage at his house, he began making this. So he learned from another guy, I think it was Roy Rantala. Roy Rantala built this building we're in.
Oh.
Matti Ranala owned this building we're in. And it's in this building where my mum used to work, where she got witness to and got saved.
Yes.
Okay. And so Matty started, and it progressed. Now, he's passed away, and the business has been sold. But the issue is how he started. And he built. So he had acreage in Rochdale.
Yep.
On Grieve Road, Grieve. Now, it still belongs to the family.
Yep.
And 25 years ago, I was out visiting with him. And he said to me, Shaun, come on out the back with me. And I think it was like 5-7 acres, went the back, it was tractor down there. And in those days, the old farm areas had been all mowed down. There's not a single tree on it, all mowed down, right?
Yep.
And he showed me, I think it was about 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 little trees about this big.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
In the area. And I asked him, what are those trees? He says, hoop pine, HOOP, hoop pine, Australian pine.
Okay. Pine.
Yeah. And the timber is very expensive, very sought after. And he said, I've planted several thousand of these hoop pines.
Wow.
Like they're only like this big.
Yeah.
I have to water them every second day. And I said, how long will it take before they can be harvested? He said, 60 years.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
I said, 60 years. Now, he was already 60 at the time.
Oh, yep.
He said, 60 years.
Yep.
And I said, why, Matty? He said, because my children's children will harvest it.
Yeah. Amen.
And when they harvest that timber and make a windfall of millions, he said, they'll remember their grandfather planted it.
Yeah, so good.
So he died, I don't know, 5-10 years ago.
Yep.
But I want to be able to go visit that place someday.
Yes.
And I want to walk, because I only ever saw those trees this high. And they must be 20 feet tall now.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
But I want to walk through there and take a photograph.
Yes.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
It was 646 Grieve Road, Rochdale South, I think the address was.
Yep.
How's that for memory? And just came to me. I think it's that address. And I just remember it. And he's a businessman. He's a Christian. And it wasn't just that he built this huge business that was called Uniline.
Yep.
It was worth millions, which he gave to his children.
Yep.
But he wanted this other inheritance that go even towards his grandchildren, etc.
Yep.
Now, I find that one of the most amazing stories. And we as Christians have more ability than we can give thought to.
Yes.
Could you imagine when he was just out there mowing the acreage on his slasher, and he had this idea, I'm going to plant several thousand hoop pines. Do you remember, can you realize he went to his wife, Birko was his wife's name, she's still alive, and said, I'm going to plant these trees. She probably went, what?
What?
Said to his kids, I'm going to plant these trees.
What? You crazy, Dad.
Because it's plain field. But I just find that that's why when you get the idea, you got to hold it first.
Hold it first, yeah.
Slowly release it. And when he's planning it, he called me out to have a look. And, you know, I still think of that memory. I still think of it today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking about, what am I doing for the body of Christ?
Yeah.
What am I doing for spiritual children of faith? What am I doing in the area? And one of the things I can do is, what's your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal? 15-year, 20-year goal?
Yes.
You know, next year as a church, we'll be 30 years old.
Yeah, wow. I remember the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, but we'll be 30 years old.
30 years, man.
And humble beginnings.
Yes.
And I see what God's done. But I'm thinking, what's happening in the next level? What's the next 5, next 10? Well, you know, we've planned the 30, but the next 10, when Josiah will take over
Yes.
as a pastor, and I'll go and do other things.
Yes.
And it's all part of that area, because Josiah's already in the training. They're doing a great job as my CEO. But it's all part of that development training. And you see, we don't think big enough. What does Ephesians 3:20 says? It says, whatever you can imagine or think or dream, God can do even bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
So Ed, think of your biggest dream in God. Can you think of it for a moment?
Yeah.
Think of a dream.
Car.
No, I want you to think of it. Don't say what it is. I want you to think of a dream. I want you to think of yourself. I want you to think of what success is. Okay? So everybody has different ideas of success, right?
Yes.
So I want you to think of I don't want you to say what it is. I want you to think of what success is.
Okay.
Now I want you to double it. I want you to go bigger. Can you do that?
Yeah, I just did it. It's pretty big.
Is that big?
Yeah.
Now double it again.
Oh, man, that's really big.
Bit hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
But Ephesians 3:20 says, what you can think and imagine, I can do even bigger. Now, remember, it has to line up with God.
Yeah.
It can't be about yourself. It's got to line up with God. The problem with a lot of business people is that when God begins to bless them, the things about themselves. It's got to be about the... See, I don't tithe 10%. I tithe 20-something%. Plus, I give other offerings.
Yeah.
Why do I do it? Well, most of all, I do it because I want to be thankful to God. 2 is I position myself financially so I can.
Yep.
And number 3 is I want more. And I want to say to God, you can trust me.
Trust me with more. Yep. That's it.
And you see, it takes faith.
Yes.
For without faith,
it is impossible to please God.
remember where it's found?
Nope.
Hebrews 11, verse 6.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? For without faith, it's supposed to please God.
Yeah.
We're going to finish off right now, and it's been so good having you join us. And I just pray God's peace and grace on you, and I pray that even the words that Ed and I and Eric have had to share could be a blessing to you. And we want you to thrive. In the midst of all the things going on around this world, whether it be the COVID, whether it be Big Bird suit being lost, or crocodiles up north, or Apple and all of its gadgets,
Yes.
that you'd be a person who dreams dreams in God.
Dream big.
If you can dream it, God can do it.
Amen.
But if you can't begin to dream, then nothing can be done.
Nothing can happen.
God bless you. We look forward to Sunday. Josiah sharing at the 8 a.m. chapel service and the 9:30 morning service, and it will be live streaming the 9:30.
Yep.
And I will be sharing at the 6 p.m. service, and it's Anzac Day, in which we'll be remembering those who have given so much to us.
Yes.
God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us today.